In this lesson, we will add bones for the torso, head, and pelvis. Let's start with the torso. I'd like to show you a trick I like to use to help make sure that the knees do not buckle as the upper body rotates back and forth. So if the character were to bend forward, what we don't want is for the knees to shake when that happens. So to prevent that, what we can do is make sure that our root, or the center of gravity that we add, is going to be centered between the two thighs. Alright, so let's say we go ahead and get this started. What we'll do is head over to our side view. Alright, and then next what we'll do is go ahead and create just one bone object. We'll go ahead and grab Create Bones. We'll press the S key to enable snapping mode. Head over to your snapping tool. Let's right click and make sure that it's set to grid points, and only that, so we're just snapping to grid. Alright, so we'll go ahead and click twice, and then here we have our bone object. Let's go ahead and right click to exit Create Bones mode. Alright, now we can move back to our perspective view. The next thing we'll want to do is go ahead and work on centering this bone object. I'm not too concerned about its resolution just yet because we could always work with Refine to add more bones. So that's going to be a really cool tool we'll take a look at soon. So let's say we go ahead and center this by working with a position constraint. It's used to lock down the position of an object to another that we assign it to. So this is really cool. Now with our root selected, we'll head over to Animation, Constraints, and grab our position constraint. Now let's go ahead and click on our left thigh. You can see its position has now been linked to that object, but it's not necessarily a link. It's not parented to that. We've just locked down its position. So you'll see, if we were to, let's say, press S to disable snapping, if we were to go ahead and grab our thigh and start to move this around, you can see how that bone follows. But if we were to start rotating, there's no movement. If we were to grab that root bone, you could take a closer look. You can go to your motion panel, and underneath your position list, you can make sure that the position constraint has been applied. Here it is. And take a look at the weight. You can see it's been weighted down by our thigh bone. And what's great is that we can actually have control over that weight. We'll take a look at that by level 2. But what we need to do is make sure it's centered. So let's go ahead and choose Add Position Target. And now let's go ahead and click on the right thigh. And now it has been centered. Beautiful stuff. Let's go ahead and right click to exit Add Position Target mode. And now we no longer need that constraint added to that object, because remember, this is our root bone, and eventually we'll want to make sure that all bones are in a way linked to this object. So what we'll do is go ahead and alt right click and choose Freeze Transform, and that's going to clear out that position constraint. And now what we're left with is a 0 position list. Very nice. Alright, so what we'll want to do at this point is go ahead and take a look at the nub object. Let's go ahead and choose Bone Edit mode. We'll go ahead and grab the nub here. We're going to go ahead and just translate it down so it's at the base of the neck. Alright, great stuff. So now we can exit Bone Edit mode and we can work on adding more resolution to this object. So let's go ahead and press Alt-W. And we'll go ahead and focus in on our side view again. Let's go ahead and grab Refine. And now it's just a matter of clicking where we'd like to segment this. So we're going to have a backbone. Let's go ahead and click. There it is. And we could also click once again to create a chest bone. And there we have it. Alright, so we'll go ahead and right click to exit Refine mode. And we'll press Alt-W to move back to our perspective view. Very nice. Alright, so you can see we have our chain in place for the upper body. We can go ahead and work on renaming these objects. So the first one, we could always rename this to BN underscore root 01. The following one will be renamed to BN underscore back 01. And now for the chest, that's going to be BN underscore chest 01. Now the nub object here, we could always go ahead and rename that to BE chest 01. All right, very nice. All right, so from here what we can do is go ahead and work on a chain for, let's say, the pelvis. Let's head over to our side view. And as we've done before, we'll go ahead and create a bone along our grid. Let's choose Create Bones. We'll go ahead and press the S key, click twice, and let's go ahead and right-click to exit Create Bones mode. Now let's go back to our perspective view. Let's go ahead and take the root of this object, and we'll go ahead and simply Shift A, align it to our root. And there we have it. So now it's just a matter of, let's say, maybe shrinking this chain. Let's go ahead and take a look at its size. So right now it's set to about 3. We might go ahead and set this to 2, as we've done for our toe chain. We'll go ahead and take the nub. Let's go ahead and remove that by simply deleting it. We'll go ahead and grab our bone object again for the pelvis and choose Create End. And now we can choose Bone Edit mode and start to just kind of bring this up. And that'll finish out the chain. Very nice. We need to make sure that the pelvis is going to be linked to our root. Let's go ahead and grab our link tool and link to our root bone. And now what we can do is go ahead and take our 2 thigh bones and link them to our pelvis bone. Beautiful stuff. All right, so if we were to take a look at this, when we grab our root and press Control page down, take a look, we're grabbing everything. So it is acting as the root now. Let's go ahead and make sure to freeze transforms on what we've done so far. So we'll go ahead and just double click on our root to grab the entire chain. Or again, you could always select the root and press Control page down, whichever you prefer. But now we can go ahead and Alt right click and choose Freeze Transform. It's always safe to do that just to make sure that if a bone is accidentally shifted, we could always go ahead and bring it back. But now when we grab our pelvis here, as we start to rotate, now the thighs will move. So we're driving the hips. Later we'll learn how to work with inverse kinematics to lock our legs down, and we'll create controls. All right, so we have one more section here, and that will be the head. We'll also make sure to add a neck bone. So let's go ahead and get right to it. We'll move back to our side view. So from here, we'll go ahead and grab our Create Bones tool. And what we'll do is go ahead and click right near the chest bone, right near its end. And you'll see that as we go ahead and start to continue upward to the head, that it might be kind of confusing to figure out where the pivot should be. Now, if you're animating a realistic type of character, you'd want to make sure that the head pivots from right around the ear, be closer to the lower part of it. But that's where we'd naturally pivot from. Now in this case, with this type of stylized character, we'll just go ahead and click right where the head starts. And then we'll go ahead and end our chain by clicking right at the top of the head, and then we'll right click. Now we have our nub object. So from here, what I'd like to do is go ahead and grab the neck. We can enter Bone Edit mode. We'll press Shift A and we'll align the next root over to the end of the chest. All right, beautiful stuff. Now at this point, if we were to exit Bone Edit mode, we can go ahead and take a close look at what we have here. You can see we have this nub object and we have the neck. Now the nub isn't necessarily needed. You can have it if you'd like for more complex setups. Sometimes you want to build a chain this way where these chains are separated just for more control. But if you'd like, you could always go ahead and take the end here of our chest, and we can always just go ahead and remove that nub and simply take our neck and make sure it's linked to the chest bone. So you have that option. Beautiful stuff. So now this entire rig is a part of our root. So let's go ahead and press Alt W and move back to our perspective view just to take a look. This looks great. All right, good stuff. So at this point, what we can do is go ahead and work on renaming our bone objects. We could also work on freezing our chain, and that's basically the last step we have until we move to the next lesson and create eye bones. So let's say we go ahead and grab our root. We'll press Control page down. We'll Alt right click and choose Freeze Transform, and now we can go ahead and rename our bone object. So starting with the pelvis here, that's simply going to be BN underscore pelvis 01. I'll copy the name. We'll go to the nub, paste, and that will be BE pelvis. And then for the neck, we get the idea here. It's going to be renamed to BN neck 01. And then for the head, we can always work with BN head 01, and then its nub will be BE. So I'll go ahead and leave that up to you. And in the next lesson, we're ready to create eye bones.